welcome to Along the Rock, brought to you by the Radar Free Press. I am your host, Kaitlyn Blum. Today with us, we have Scott Shumard, the city manager for Sterling, and we're here to just talk about some updates and things that are going on with the city.
Awesome, it's my favorite time of year.
So the first thing I want to start with, actually, is just some clarification, because as I know, some of the parks in town are owned by the city, and some of them are owned by the park district. So which parks are actually owned by the city?
Yes, that definitely creates a lot of confusion for people because obviously we have a separate taxing district with their own elected board that runs a lot of the park system for Sterling, but through whatever quirks of time, there's a few parks that are owned by the city. So the new Riverfront Park, which is Northwestern Steel and Wire Park, will be a city park. And then the older established parks are Platt Park, is owned by the city, as well as Lincoln Park and Wallace Park. So one of our big things has been we've neglected those parks for a long time, and for the first, 15 years I was here, I just watched those parks kind of fall apart, and I thought, why have we not done anything? So we've done a lot in the last few years. Lincoln Park, of course, we put in the new play equipment, which gets heavily used by Lincoln School. And then we have at Wallace Park, we put in a new futsal court with a new basketball court. So we have a whole new surface over there. We've got lighting over there. And if we ever get it figured out, we're going to get the security cameras set up in that park. We just have new playground equipment also put in Wallace Park, so we've done a lot there. And then, of course, Platt Park, we're ordering new playground equipment for there, but we've also put in a shelter. In the last few years, we redid some of the ball diamond work over there. We put in a complete walking path around it, and then the bicycle track, which gets used for everything from RC cars to kids on BMX bikes, and it's been kind of a big thing for us. So, yeah, after sitting here for 20 years wondering why we haven't done anything, we started budgeting and making sure we were getting some improvements so that we weren't falling behind because, while the park district has some of the larger parks, we've got kind of some of the neighborhood parks that are really important to people, and starting to feel neglected and underutilized, and almost a source of embarrassment for the city, and it was kind of shameful to have our name associated with the parks and the condition they had gotten to. So we're really proud of the improvements we've made there.
Yeah, you've made some awesome improvements to the parks. So can you give me just like a general update on the roads? Everybody's always asking about 2nd Street and asking about the park, but it sounds like there might be some holdups that are out of your control.
Our biggest ones now are utilities. So some of the roads around town have been paved so far, so we're getting some progress there. The big ones, though, 2nd Street, because I'm sure by now everybody knows the backups that happen on 4th Street and 3rd Street coming into town due to 2nd Street being unavailable. Most of the concrete work is done for the curbing, and most of the utility work on our end has been done. We're still waiting on ComEd to move about 37 poles because those poles end up either in the new 10-foot pedestrian path or immediately adjacent to it and in the way. So the trick becomes, how do you pour concrete? When there's a pole that's supposed to be, that's currently in the way, and then ComEd, if they don't get around to it this year, how do we pave a road this year and then turn around and put all the heavy equipment on the brand new road in order to put a new pathway in and have ComEd's trucks moving the poles? So we would really like to see ComEd get this, the poles moved over there. That way we can get this thing paved this year. But that's not the only holdup. We've also got NICOR. They've got a gas main underneath there. And with the new road height, they need to move their line down a little bit. And there's a whole permitting process. And they've got permits for the city to do it, but they don't have the ones from IDOT. And apparently, until they have the IDOT ones, they won't even start on the city portion, because it would be a different work job number or something of that order, which is frustrating to say the least.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that gets done. Asphalt plants generally shut down about the week before Thanksgiving, and we would need to have all that stuff kind of going before then. We don't want to go through the winter without that being paved. Worst case scenario, I guess, would be to put down a binder course, which is the first layer of asphalt that kind of goes down, to at least get a surface on there for the winter so we can plow it. We don't want to go through the winter without being able to plow it, and plus you've got manholes to work around and everything else as far as height adjustments go. So it's, we're at the mercy of utility companies at this point, and we don't have the upper arm. We don't have any kind of stick that we can use, and there's no real carrot that we have to offer either. We're just at their mercy, and of course we've had as much work as ever this year, and I don't know if other communities have, and that's got them strained, or what it is, or We're known for red tape as a government, but sometimes I think the utilities have found a way to outdo us when it comes to red tape.
Yeah, so there's some exciting housing development kind of stuff going on in Sterling, right? Do you have any details on that?
We've got some new things. We're in the process. We're working with one gentleman on an apartment complex, which we're excited about. We've been trying to help through stormwater issues and things of that nature. So that's what we found is sometimes property owners just aren't realistic, especially if they're out-of-town property owners, and asking way too much for what the area is and just not being familiar with the area, or just thinking that they're going to get something out of whoever's being the developer, and they just rather sit on it. And that was an issue for this particular case. The other cases, we have another gentleman who's building a series of duplexes on a couple Sterling lots. We had acquired, through demolition, some state grants, the lot near St. Mary's School. There's a whole half a block there. And a gentleman came to us and proposed doing some duplexes on that site. So we've got our site plans. He's going through the permitting process now. And for us, the city council recently waived permitting fees, so to help try and make this more affordable, because we know the big issue is we're seeing even single-family new homes going up. We're talking $250,000, $300,000 just to get a house up. Sometimes even more than that. And it costs the same to build a house here as it does in the Quad Cities, or even further to the east towards the DeKalb area. But just the way the economy is, wages here don't pay as much as they do closer you get to Chicago. So sustaining rents and making the whole thing profitable is the biggest challenge. And we've got a housing study. We have a draft report in what's been shown to me anyway. We're hoping to have the final one soon to give to the city council. And one of the big issues that shows up in the housing study is just the lack of developers in Illinois, and the number of speculative developers that used to be here a couple decades ago that just aren't here now. And you see there's a number of housing developers here that there would be names that people in the community be familiar with that just aren't here and doing it anymore, have retired out or whatever else. And that's what's really difficult, is just lack of contractors. It's amazing that we struggle with unemployment's not big right now, but we've had places where that has been. But the trades, and I think this goes back to a bigger picture, not to get on a big tangent, but it's coming home to roost now, where for years we pushed kids that said, hey, we got to get you into college, and we kind of ignored the trades. And now you can do it in a couple of these trades and make good bank, a lot more than a lot of people are going to get out of there with a 4-year degree. And we're sorely lacking on those. And if I'm sure anybody listening has had an opportunity to go through this, but getting a roof done or getting a remodel done or a rehab, you're either weeks, months out, sometimes a year out, and then you're fighting for quality, and you're fighting to get a competitive price on anything. And of course, the contractors are all squeezed because ever since COVID and supply chain issues, prices on materials are way up, and that affects everybody from the homeowner to us trying to build a facility too or make improvements. And it's a big issue with no single easy solution. And on our end, as long as we can, we've been getting grants to do demolitions on a lot of properties. Occasionally we get some money for rehabs, and knowing what the housing crunch is, we always prefer to rehab, but a lot of times by the time we're either allowed in or find a legal way to get into a home that's become dilapidated, it's just too far gone. And that's another thing for us too, another tangent. 10 years ago, we didn't have a whole lot of quality flippers, and now we have some really quality flippers in town who are able to take a property that we can get a hold of through judicial deed after it's been condemned, usually for being pretty dilapidated, but not so far gone as that it can't be saved with a good amount of work. So now we've got several contractors that we work with that are at least getting housing back on the market, and that's a big change for us in just the last 5 to 10 years, and hopefully we get more of that. But that's one of our strategies, is try and get to these houses before they're too far gone. But unfortunately, you're balancing rights that people have as property owners with what's best for the community and the adjoining neighbors. There's steps, and we can't just go in and take. We can't just go in and say, hey, do this, because a lot of times people just don't have the means. That's one thing. other times people have the means and just ignore us because they're happy to collect rents
Yeah.
and let the property go until they don't have to. And that just dovetails further into our rental inspection program, which we're still working on. We have one employee dedicated to it, and pretty much just trying to come up with a master list, and that's going through tax records, driving the community, going through some of the sewer billing records, seeing where names match, don't match. And our biggest issue is generally being a less expensive area to buy into. We get people from California, let alone Chicago, buying properties here, turn around just renting them out and doing zero maintenance to them. And while that's great for a person looking for cheap rent, the rest of the neighborhood usually tends to suffer because people aren't reinvesting because they're not here. They don't need to be here, and as long as they're collecting a rent check, when the house is done and the fight's over, they get to walk away from it, and they've made money off the property in the meantime. So there's so much that goes into housing, and I think we probably just touched the surface on some of the challenges we all face.
And the big thing is the city is very limited, in what they can do, but they have taken steps.
Yeah, and I think that's we're a big city for Northwestern Illinois, but in the scheme of things, we're kind of still a small town in a sense. So it's a plus and minus. We're just big enough to have most of the amenities, with the schools and the hospitals and the things we offer, and most of the shopping experiences. But we're still small enough that we don't have all the resources in the world, and we don't have a dedicated housing department and things like that to full-time go and chase these things down. We've got one building inspector who's pretty much looking at everything from fences going up to the permitting for that, to new remodels, to commercial developments, whatever else it happens to be. That's that one person's job. And then you've got two people dedicated to trying to find everything from noxious weed complaints to doors hanging off, to broken windows, to roofs that are caved in or whatever else. And with an older community, with older housing stock, there's more than enough work for those two to go around. And then again, even if they do, we've had some recent experiences with people, this time of year, the grass complaints are going to start slowing down, of course, but as we get complaints like that, we can't just write a ticket. We can't just go out and mow. We have to give a notice. We can't just go onto somebody's property so the notice has to get served, and then the ticket can get served after that. But the minute they go out and mow, then the whole process starts over again. And you're constantly fighting some of the same people over and over. And it's frustrating, and then you can stay one step ahead. And if you get the ticket and then you mow it, and then you go into our administrative hearing process, a lot of times the hearing officer says, well, it's been taken care of, so we're going to throw out the fine. So then there's no motivation to stay on it. It's just, not to say you're playing a game, but some people are waiting until they're absolutely pushed to the limit before they actually act. And that becomes frustrating to the neighbors, who then get frustrated with the city. And, again, the source of the problem is whoever the property owner is who's not taking care of the property. It's fun.
So you have movies in the park coming up soon?
Yeah, so our city staff, and I give Terry Sadoff, our city clerk, all the credit in the world. She has taken the position and taken the role of kind of being a community events doer to a whole new level. The city, again, 20 years ago, we weren't doing a lot to do events ourselves. We were counting on groups like the Chamber and Main Street to do things. And Terry has made it her mission to get the city involved in doing things like these movies in the park. Chocolate Walk was something that she did earlier this year. And I have to say our employees have responded in force. It's been amazing. So whether the fire department shows up to do some community outreach, the police officers walking through, but more importantly, our administrative staff from police department, finance, clerk's office, building department, they've all been coming out and supporting, doing setup, tear down, organizing all the decorations and everything else. And it's just been, they've gone in full bore. So this year, same thing as, with the movie coming up. Why did I just draw a blank? Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yeah.
We can edit that out. Senior moment. But we'll have people dressed up in costumes and everything else to support the event. Beetlejuice will be there himself. So it's kind of a cool thing. And then this time of year, unfortunately, as much as I love this time of year, I do hate the earlier and earlier sunsets. But that makes it easier to show the movie in the park because Well, we've done them in the past in the summer when it doesn't get dark until 9 o'clock. That makes it a little challenging to keep the young ones up
Yeah.
through the entirety of a movie. But with the earlier sunsets, people should be able to come out and enjoy it. And as long as this weather holds, this is awesome, and we should knock on wood. Have a great turnout.
Well, that sounds great, Scott. Thank you for being here with me today.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And it's we look forward to this. Like I said, this time of year is great for homecoming coming up this week for Newman. In a few weeks, we've got Sterling's homecoming coming up. I think that's October 3rd is their parade. Newman's is this weekend. And then we've got, I'm sure others will talk about it in other formats, but we love the fact that you've got Taste of Fiesta coming up on the 13th, I believe. And then we've got the Fiesta Parade on the 20th. And just as a quick note for us, we have a conflict. Grandin's in use for something else that weekend, so the parade will be rerouted. So if you normally take your spot in front of Kelly's or Brink's, don't. The parade's going to come across the bridge this year and go straight up First Avenue and then take a left at 4th Street and then come back down Locust Street and then go east on 3rd in front of the factory. So I think we used that route, a similar route, a couple of years ago during there was some construction or COVID. Something came up. I know we've rerouted it, so that'll be the same thing this year. It's all hands on deck for the city. So that's another real quick thing because that's going to come up before or right before we have a chance to talk again. But that's all hands on deck. So we've got Public Works is out there blocking streets off. The entire police department shows up, sworn, non-sworn. No one's allowed to take a vacation day. And they've been doing this for, whatever it is, 50 years. But all of our people show up for that, and it's a big event for the community, and we're really happy for it. It's an exciting time. Again, it's just one of those big community things for us, and we like being a part of it, and it's huge. And I think it's the 75th year or something like that.
72nd.
72nd, yeah. So this is awesome, and hopefully have another great turnout for it. And again, this great, beautiful weather we're having holds.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
I want to say thank you to our listeners and to our production crew as well. Remember that the Radar Free Press is free, so we do rely on those likes, shares, and comments to keep us thriving. And if you want to see more videos like this, check out theradar.online.